What's up, everybody? Welcome to Untamed and Unhinged Reptile Podcast. I'm gonna let my co-host introduce herself and her Instagram page because I'm gonna murder this name. Go ahead.
Hey everyone, I'm Bo Lizard or Brooke.
And tell us a little bit about yourself so everybody knows.
A little bit about myself is I breed indigo snakes. Specifically, I work with Mexican indigo snakes. I also work with Cyclera, so rhino iguanas, and then a few other different species. But those guys are going to be the main animals on my page, besides my coming eye, like water monitor and a few other different things.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And on another note, USARC still kicking ass. They're doing what they're doing best, fighting for animals. And I think that's it. I'm gonna bring out Tori,
Bring in Tori.
our guest. Hey, Tori.
Hi.
Go ahead and tell everybody about yourself, where you're from.
So I am Sendsnakepics. I live in Arizona, born and raised, and I mostly keep green tree pythons. I have an indigo that I love. Her name is Corpse, and then a few other odds and ends. I love my spiders as well, but mostly just posting my green trees and my other animals and sharing them with the people that like to watch.
That's me. I be sharing that stuff all the time, right? She posts something, I'm like, oh, share that.
Yeah,
Like
so they
my
share-
favorite one. My favorite one was when you posted the one about the spiders, about like when people are always talking.
Oh yeah.
I was
Was
like,
that
man.
was that the one about killing animals, or
Um,
was it an older one?
yeah, I
I don't
think it's an
remember.
older one.
Honestly,
Yeah, I don't remember.
I post so many things. I'm like, which one is it?
But yeah, I always share all your stuff. I love like what you do, how you do it.
Well, thank you.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not like that. So says
I
Tori Page.
appreciate it.
Tori Page made me realize how fantastic snakes are. I have two ball pythons now.
And I love that. Hi, Shelby. I'm so glad you got into snakes, and I love that. So thank you.
What
But
was
what
your
make?
first
Oh,
snake?
go ahead. I'm
I'm
sorry, but go
curious.
ahead.
What was your first snake that you owned?
My first snake. Oh man, I'm gonna have to think about that one. One I caught outside, or one that I actually got.
I'm gonna say one you actually got.
I had a normal ball python. That was my first snake. When I was little, my parents had this deal with me where if I got all A's on my report card, they would get me a new animal. And so I just started getting animals left and right. I had sugar gliders, I had lizards, snakes, everything. I actually caught my first tarantula in our house and kept it in a pickle jar until my mom got it in an enclosure. So, but yeah, regular normal ball python is what I had, and kept that baby for years and years. And then my niece wanted it, so I was like, okay, you can have my snake, and I'm gonna start branching out into other species, and that's what I got into.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's really
thanks.
Love Tori also as a Arizona reptile keeper and love green tree pythons, dream snake.
They are awesome snakes. They are very particular, but they are definitely rewarding when you
How
get their
many do you
temps
have?
right. I have 7 green trees at the moment. I had quite a few more, but a divorce will do that to you. So
I get that.
I had 47 snakes, 40 turtles, 60 tarantulas. I had the works. But yeah, I have 7 of them now. I have a Bill Stiegel. That's one of my favorites. I have a Patrick Holmes. So I have a couple designers, and then some other mixtures. I think I only have one that is pure, just one gene, and it's a Jayapura. The rest have multiple genes, so Monokawari and Larray, or what have you, Aru mixed in as well. So
And do you still have your retic?
yes, I do. Buffalo Bill. He's behind me right now.
I was gonna say, don't you have your pied retic and how many retics you got?
I have one retic, Buffalo Bill. He's my pied retic.
Pied retic. Okay.
Yeah, and he has het ghost in him. So if I ever were to, have people have him go over and borrow him for some jeans or anything, that'd be interesting to have. But yeah, he's cool. He's growing like a weed. My goodness.
So I'm gonna go back and forth here because I know you also do cars. What
Yeah.
made you get into cars?
I always loved cars. I just never had my own that I could actually build up until I was a little bit older and had enough money to play with. And so I always really liked the BRZs. So I decided to get one and then just start modifying it. Nothing's done to the engine. I've kept it alone. A lot of people that have a BRZ, that boxer engine, once they turbo it or do anything much to it, it explodes. And I like my car to be running. So I'm leaving it alone. I don't want it to blow up.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I'm burping here.
You're fine.
It says we love Betty. Yeah, I was gonna
Yes.
say, and Betty's her name. And what made you pick Burris?
I just really loved Beerus. I love his sassy attitude. He's like the villain, but also not. Like I always root for the villains, and I like how he, even though he's a villain, he's still like a lovable guy in the end. I mean, he is destroying worlds, but I mean, he can be forgiven for that. You know what I mean?
I was like, what is that smoking behind you?
My humidifier.
Oh, I was like, what is that? I was like,
Big
something's on
humidifier.
fire. Something's
Yeah.
on fire.
Yeah, so I have in my room, instead of doing like heat panels or heat pads, I do a smart heater in the room. So it's a controlled temperature smart heater. And then I have the humidifier. So they go at the same time. That way all the snakes are getting the same needs met at the same time. And then my thermostat stays on it. And then I have a little gauge that tells me what the humidity is and what the temperature is and everything in here. And I learned that when I was keeping the green trees, because when I was doing the heat panels, a lot of them would get too hot in that area, and then some of them would have the perfect humidity, and then other ones would kind of struggle with it and they weren't having perfect sheds and what have you. So I switched to doing humidifier, but finding the right size humidifier, and I mean all the different elements change things. Like if you have a carpeted floor, it changes things. So this wood floor I have now is absolutely mint for the animals. And then keeping this huge humidifier, I got this on Amazon. Actually, it changes colors. It's super cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really neat. And so having this big one and then having the smart heater, I now am getting mostly perfect sheds from everybody except for the baby, but he just went through his official shed, so I figured it would be a little bit of an issue. But everybody else is having perfect sheds with the temperatures and the humidity the way that it is.
Yeah, that was really detailed and very informative. So I want to know, how'd you come up with the Sendsnakepics name?
Okay, so I was teaching sixth graders at the time. I teach eighth graders now. I was teaching sixth graders, and my kids would always tell me, "Miss, you need to post your animals online." And I was like, "Oh, no, no, no." And they're like, "No, seriously," because I would show them pictures and stuff. My like original like meet and greet, like when they get to know me, I had like a little PowerPoint and stuff. And they're like, "No, you need to do it." And I was like, "Okay, well, like, what would I even post?" They're like, "You make videos." So they showed me like what kind of videos people make on TikTok. Like I felt like so old, showing me all the things people post and everything. And then one of my kids was like, "And then you need to have a really catchy name." And I was like, "Okay, what am I even going to name myself?" And one of my students, Miley, actually, and I can call her out because I'm friends with her family, so it's fine. And I'm like, she's fine. She was like, "Why don't you name yourself Sendsnakepics?" And I was like, "That's actually really funny. Okay, I'll do it. I'll see if it's available." And so I did it, and then the rest is history. And so she reminds me all the time, because now that I moved to eighth grade, she's in my eighth grade class this year. So anytime a video pops off, she's like, "I just want you to know I made you famous."
Oh my God.
I'm like, "You're not wrong, baby. You're not wrong, okay?"
That's great.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's awesome though. Just like, I
it
made
all
you
to
famous.
guys. Yes, I owe it all to them.
So
So-
what? Oh, go ahead, bro. Go ahead. I'll let you ask the question.
Do you get most of your inspiration for videos and stuff on like TikTok, or where did you like start for your platform? Was that Instagram mostly?
On Instagram, I was just posting photos of the animals, and then TikTok is really where I started finding the inspiration for the different like captions and stuff, and seeing people post things that were funny, seeing whatever trend was popping up next, and then making it my own so that I'm not copying somebody. And at the beginning, I didn't even know that like trend following was okay to do. So like when somebody posted a video and had an original idea, I didn't know at first that you were allowed to make it your own. You know, I thought that was still technically copying, but my students again reminded me, they're like, no, it's fine. Like, just don't copy it word for word and you're good. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. So yeah, I take a lot of the inspiration from TikTok. I think it's a really cool platform to be silly, be expressive. I kind of hate the way that they're changing things with music and stuff, like how scripted
Yeah,
it's become. That's a little wild. Like
that's dumb.
videos, yeah, like sounds getting taken down. Like I'm the type of person that my life is so freaking busy that I will make 14 videos in one day. I'll set one day aside and I will change my outfits. It's a
Oh,
whole deal. It's a whole deal. I'll change every outfit for every snake, every video, blah, blah, blah. And I'm set for like 3 freaking months. So when this started happening, I literally have droves and droves of drafts that I cannot use now because I've mouthed words to video sounds that aren't accessible anymore. Like they don't exist.
oh, really? I didn't know that. That's
Yeah,
trash, though.
yeah,
I'm
they've
out.
been
That's
taking
trash.
down. Yeah, they've been taking down specific sounds too. Like when people are speaking or having like certain skits and stuff, they take them down. And then if you've made a video specific to that and you haven't posted it yet, it's not out there for people to see. You're done though with it pretty much. You can't use it as something else with a different sound because you're mouthing the same exact words. So
That's dumb.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with TikTok either. I hear they're gonna ban it. I don't know. I hope they
say
don't.
that every couple months.
Yeah,
I'll believe it when I see it, you know.
I'm like, I hope they don't because like on that platform, I'm starting to really grow on that. But
yeah.
like my podcast channel is actually starting to take off on TikTok, so I try to bring them over here, you know. But I actually just hit 1,000 followers on Instagram with the podcast channel because I had took 6 months. I took 6 months off. If I didn't, I think I would have hit it sooner. But
yeah, it's all the time thing. And I actually had the creator team on Instagram call me. This guy's from London, and he's like, so we like what you've been doing with your page, and we want to have you grow more. Would you be interested in being a part of the creator panel on Instagram? And I was like, yeah, sure. And he was like, okay, I can answer some questions and give you some advice. And he started doing that and was telling me, you know, if you don't post 6 out of 7 days a week, you're not going to see the growth that you're looking for. He's like, it's a full-time job. And I was like, holy crap. Like I made a second page for my car. And he's like, yeah, you shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, he's like, you're doubling essentially your work if you want them both to grow, because you have to consistently be on both or you're going to lose followers and you're going to lose engagement. And he was like, have you noticed? Because they did a deep dive. They're like, have you noticed that your reels do much better than your pictures? And I was like, yeah, I have noticed that. He's like, yeah,
I was gonna
that's what
say
your
the same.
viewers want. And I was like, so how do I make them want to see my pictures? He's like, yeah, that's going to be a whole different algorithm you're going to have to work on. I was like, so I'm like remaking myself. He's like, pretty much. I was like, okay, I guess I'll just keep doing what I'm doing then.
I'm like, that seems hard though.
Yeah,
6 to
it's a full-time
7
job.
posts. I don't even do that in a day. I only do like 1 post and that's it, and I leave it there.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. You have to really dedicate a lot of time to it. And the thing that sucks is the monetization on these apps is crazy. Like one little thing out of line and you're not getting paid any money for the work you put in. I mean, I have an 8 million viewed video that I made $0 on from Instagram because they deemed it not monetizable. Another one, 2.7 million views. I guess they didn't like the sound I chose for that one. So also not monetizable. So they make the money from me, but I make $0. And people assume, they're like, oh, you make so much money on your social media. I'm like, I actually make nothing.
Same.
Yeah.
Really same boat. Everyone's like, oh, you have so many followers, you get so many things. And I'm like, no, like I have a full-time job. I work. Like I couldn't have these animals if I just did social media. Like that's not how it works at all. But it's honestly becoming a more stressful thing, I feel like, especially with TikTok and the sounds, like the music. Like there's no, like I hate when you make a video and you post it and then it's like sounds removed, like pick again, and it's just like whole video and all of the cuts based off of something, and then you just have to change it. So it's just like, to put that time all the time consistently, like 6 days a week doing that on top of working a full-time job, it's a lot.
And then
it makes your video dead. Your video's dead at that point, and it goes into the wasteland of dead videos, and you put so much time and effort into it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at that point too, like then you got trolls coming in. I wish they had something where like trolls come in, put negative comments. Like nobody wants to see that stuff. Like all their hard work, and then somebody posts a negative comment and it just discourages them.
Well, and I take those negative comments with a grain of salt because you know what it is? It's just like the car scene people. The people that talk the most shit literally ride a bicycle to work. So why are you speaking on my vehicle? The people that talk shit about how I keep my snakes have, and no offense to leopard geckos, I love them, but you have one leopard gecko and you're telling me how to keep green tree pythons. Like, baby, just stay in your lane, sweetheart. Like, nobody asks for your opinion, and just because it's the internet and you can clickety clack away does not mean anybody asks for it.
And you're right, exactly right.
The comments actually make me giggle. I'll look at some of them. Some people say some foul shit, and I look at it and I'm like, oh, like that's funny. That's creative. You really dug deep for that one. Thank you. I appreciate it. Like, I just took 5 minutes of your day for you to insult me. I love it.
No, that's the thing, is they're taking the time to like type that and message it and press send. Like, that's the thing. They have a second to think about it, but they still hit send. And I'm just like, okay.
Yes. I had a guy comment on one of my videos about how I was just slutting myself out on the internet and I needed to find better things to do with my time. And I let him know kindly that he could easily say not interested to my video and keep swiping along, buddy. He had then a personal vendetta against my page. I stopped replying to the dude. He commented on my post for 4 weeks straight, every single day. And every single person that would respond to him defending me, he would attack and go in on every single day. And I would just go back in and I'd like occasionally be eating a snack and just like, what's Cuckoo up to today, man? Like he's just brewing up some more things, and just, it was amusing. It's like the level that people, and he's like, I have a life. I'm a tattoo artist and I do this and I do that. And I'm thinking to myself, sweetheart, you have a life, but this is week 4 and you're still here. Bless your soul.
His job is the engagement on your post. Like, that's what I'm like, thank you for the engagement. You're making my go.
But
it's true though. The haters, they just make you famous.
And that video went up like 30,000 views, and I was like, does he not realize what he's doing? I'm like, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Stay in my followers, you cuckoo.
Yeah, I didn't block him. I didn't block him. I didn't even like mute him. I just let him go. Like, any video, I should have started it on a new one. I'm like, the ones that are doing bad, I should start adding him and being like, hey, what do you think of this? I'm really slutting myself out here, buckaroo.
No, that would be funny.
Oh my God. That guy, I bet that guy's watching right now. He's all mad. He's like, man, fuck this.
Why did Bosa say he's getting rid of his bike?
Because you said you ride a bike to where he's like, down.
No, you don't talk smack on my car. That's all I meant. If you ride a bike,
I don't know, but I love your car. But I want to say, like, your page, I feel like your page has opened up more for you, like, because then aren't you like modeling too now that I've seen?
Yeah. It's been crazy, man. It's what social media does is just insane. I've had modeling people reach out to me in some agencies, and I've done some freelance modeling. I've had some of them want me to get more serious with that, but I mean, man, my boyfriend's mom said that she said one time, she's like, I just can't figure her out. It's like she picked a card out of the hat for everything that she's into. She's got the colored hair and the tattoos and the car and the snakes and it's like, that's so true, because I could not dedicate like my life to like seriously be into modeling, you know what I mean? Like, that was just something I was like, hey, I've never done this before, let's try it out. And then they were like, you want to do more? And I'm like, I don't know about that. It's fun, but
Nah.
I'm like, I get really bad anxiety and stage fright. I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah, I know. When you were telling me like trying to get in here, I was like, oh man, I feel so bad.
I know.
Because I was like, oh, I don't want you to have anxiety.
I know. I was panicking. I was texting my boyfriend. I was like, I'm having a panic attack. I can't get into this thing. Nothing's working. He's like, it's okay.
I wanted to be like, I'm sorry, like Bree, but I'm sorry.
I I was like, I'm not gonna show, and everybody is gonna think I'm a bot, and like AI does my videos, and I'm not even a real human or something.
No, I was like, no, I know you're real because when I sent you my shirt, you did that video.
Yes. Okay. Fair. I don't
Yeah.
think AI was that big back then. So.
So do you plan on like breeding your reptiles, or are you just gonna be keeper, a collector?
Yes, last year I was pairing green tree pythons, and then a separation happened, and so I kind of had to start completely over. But I did get a couple pairs with me still, so I have some of age females, and I have some age males. And green tree pythons are August September time frame for breeding, so that's when I plan on pairing some of them together and seeing how they fare. I have a bunch of virgins in my midst, so we'll see how it goes. We'll just try it out, throw them together, and see what happens. You know,
See, they
I'm
lock.
excited
Yeah.
though. Yeah,
But
I'm
yeah.
excited.
When you get your first eggs and then you see the pip and the babies come out, all the excitement, man. I'm not gonna lie. When I produced my first balls, like ball pythons, which I regret getting into because I love my retics so much more. I mean, I wish I would. Well, I like my retics and then I like my colubrids. So I got hognoses, rat snakes, milk snakes, and then my sand boas. So
Colubrids are wicked cool. I love colubrids because there's so many variations and they're just awesome.
so see, I'm looking for an all black rat snake, but a male because I got a female blue eye Lucy rat snake.
Okay.
That'd be cool.
I know. See what happens. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see what we get.
Mix
But
and
that's what
match
I'm
it.
looking for. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm shooting for.
What ball python morphs did you make?
I made a banana ghost head pie to a calico head pie,
Oh, nice.
and then I got a banana calico head pie head ghost
Nice.
because they didn't get any of the ghosts. So,
Very cool.
but yeah, he's really small. He's cute. I just showed it to her too. I was like, look, this is one of my babies I produced.
Really
Just don't
pretty.
play with balls anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I do like ball pythons, and I think they serve like a purpose for like anyone who like if you're trying to get into a certain species or work with something, they are a great intro just for learning like maintaining humidity, temps, like basic husbandry requirements. But the thing that I have against them is they can live 60 years. People don't talk about that. They can climb, they can do things. So like if you aren't able to provide those things long term for 60 years, get a colubrid, get a rosy boa, get a different species of python. Like there's different stuff you can keep that are just as cool. And I think ball pythons just got pushed so hard that they imploded for just wrong reasons. And that's my only like gripe with them, but I love them because they get people interested in the reptiles. And I think that's what people need to focus on instead of hating them all the way, because like they do serve their purpose in the world of reptiles.
I agree.
People need to be educated on what they're getting into fully with those animals, and like strikes everything that comes with them.
Yes, I agree with you. I'm not saying I don't like dislike them. I still got my balls pythons. I was like, I still got my pites. I'm gonna breed those, but that's all I'm gonna breed are pites and ball pythons.
I have my ball python right here, Cinnamon Toast Crunch. He's hanging out. I still have a ball python, even though I have all these other crazy wackadoos in here. Like, but yeah, I think. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, but everybody always has like a one ball python or two. If they're like working on something else, they still have ball pythons. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. The only thing, the only thing that I wish more people would talk about is the dangers of morph mixing, like with that spider gene, and the fact that so many young people, when they get into snakes, like their first thing they want to do is get another and breed. And that's the thing that I wish there was more like conversation on in channels, about because there's so many channels that will post about breeding, but these people that post about it, they've been doing research and they've been breeding for years. They aren't, this isn't their first time they're breeding. They didn't just get two snakes, throw them together, and they had a lock and they had babies, and then now they have a YouTube channel. Like, this is a cultivation of an era, you know, that when they're online, now they're posting them. And a lot of young people I've noticed, or people in general that get into keeping, is the first thing that they think of is that they want to breed. And I think it's kind of dangerous in a sense. And I wish more channels would talk about the fact that, you know, just because you want to keep snakes does not necessarily mean you should breed. You know, we have enough breeders out there. And of course, obviously, if you know what you're doing and you have a passion for breeding, 1,000% do. You know, we can always use more breeders. But if you're new to keeping and that's your reason for keeping, I feel like, you know, there should be more than that. Because I have a lot of people that will reach out to me for advice. And I've even made it the time limit. I won't even open my Instagram messages for 3 to 4 days because of the people that will reach out to me. And a lot of people will reach out to me and ask me about breeding advice. And when I kind of dig, because I dig about the information of the animal, like I need to know more about your animal, and I need to know more about where they're living so I can give you the best advice you need. Like, are you only working with tubs? I need to know that. So that if that's all you have to work with, but you're insistent on breeding, at least I'm giving you the safest way to breed, because you're going to do it anyway. You know, me telling you not to is not going to stop you. So at least I'm giving you the best advice so those snakes are safe, you know? And when I get more of this information, a lot of people are like, yeah, I just got my first blah, blah, blah. And now I'm looking for a blah, blah, blah of the opposite sex because I want to breed them. And it makes my heart sad, because it's just so dangerous, you know, potentially with the snake and with the knowledge or the lack thereof. And I don't know. I just wish more channels would talk about it and be more educational about the roots you need to. It's like you have to earn it, okay? Like, people that walk around with just their neck tattooed and they got nothing else, you look stupid, all right? You gotta earn it. Get sleeved up first, okay? It's the same thing. You don't just get to buy 2 snakes and be a professional breeder. Earn it. Put in the work like the rest of us.
It's just enjoy the moment.
Exactly.
Right.
Animals, enjoy what you're building before you're like, what can I breed this to, or this and that. And it's just like, you know, I feel like it's so almost like Pokemon. It's like, I got to get them all. And it's just like, these snakes, like, they still need, like, they still want individual attention and time, and how, like, be realistic with yourself. And I know I had to do it multiple times in my life, but I was like, how much time can I give to this said animal? And if I can't give it what it needs, then I'm going to find it a better home. And I think that's something too we need to stop doing in the community. If you need to rehome something, if you need to take a step back because it's too much for you, you should not be ostracized. You should
Absolutely
not talk about, because I know that these animals live, you know, 40 years, 60 years. They can live really long times, but that's where you have nieces and nephews. You have these other people. You can educate older people. You can educate their parents to be involved with that animal. There are things you can do that make sure this animal is living a better life, essentially, because you can no longer give it what it needs because you have other things you're working with. And there's nothing wrong with that, because you grow and evolve as a keeper. And I just think, like,
agree.
that really bothers me, like, with certain people, because a lot of breeders, they sell this dream. They sell this dream of, oh, you can be just like me if you put these 2 animals together. But they don't show them everything else that comes along with it. Yep. How many babies you have that you're pumping out that you can't always find homes for,
or that died. You know, some of the green tree, I have to give green tree python keepers credit, because man, I've learned so much when I first started out with the green trees. With the forums on Facebook, you know, Facebook is kind of like dead. Sorry, Facebook, but you're dying. But the forums are so phenomenal, because they literally, green tree python keepers and breeders will air out their own dirty laundry. They're like, these are the babies I had. These are the 3 that died. I only got this many. Take a look, and here's detailed photos. It's like, it's awesome, because you know what that does? It gives so much education to the people that are keeping it. Makes you think twice about just throwing 2 green tree pythons together and hoping you have some babies. Like, And they talk about prolapsing because these green trees, when I tell you that they are so delicate, it's like, why, bro? You live on a branch. Chill out. I feed you. I give you this liquid air. Like, what more do you need? They are so temperamental. And people post and they're like, yep, the bitch prolapsed, like she was doing great, and now her insides are her outsides, and like they show us what can happen, and then they also show us what they did to fix it. Like, oh, you can't afford a vet? Don't worry, your snake's not gonna die. Follow these simple tricks. And then it's like, wow, that sounds kind of scary, but cornstarch and what? Okay, I mean, I guess I'll try it out. And you do, and lo and behold, your snake is chill. So the green tree python groups, phenomenal. But I absolutely agree with you also in that sense of, the pipe dream that they're selling. Look at all that I have. It's like a wizard, and I have this, and
it's a good marketing tactic. Like, they're not stupid. I'm not saying, I am not giving them like slack for that, or I'm not giving them attacking for that, I should say.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I get why they're doing it, because they got to put food on their table, this and that, like you're providing. But that's where it's like, you need to take a step back. And like, if reptiles are your only source of income, and like you have to put animals' rights to the side because you're too focused on making that dollar, maybe you should look for something else that you can supplement that for, because to sell that to someone else, you're basically setting up a whole generation for failure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then they're mad at us because we're not able to keep up with like what they're doing. And it's like, well, you sold us this dream, you did give us the tools for it, but then never showed us like what could go wrong or how to get out of this, and this.
Right.
They don't show their failures. They only are showing the success, and that's how they're selling you this.
Yeah, and they don't tell you what temperatures you need to keep your babies, and they don't tell you that you need to have water underneath there. You can't just put the eggs in like an easy bake oven and call it a damn day. They don't tell you anything, and they leave you out to dry, and you have to hope for the best. Faster than life reptiles, yes. The diet, 1,000%. I'm hating myself right now because I can't remember who, but there was somebody that was posting a year ago in the GTP group chats about the diet and about how green tree pythons are not getting enough of the like vitamins almost that they're needing. Like they're not getting enough of the vitamins and the minerals that they need from rats. Because theoretically, if you think about it, a green tree python's life in Papua New Guinea or in Australia, in the tree branches, they're not coming across these fat, well-fed rats that we're feeding them. They're coming across lizards and birds and other snakes. And sometimes they're not eating at all because they're too lazy and they're laying on a tree branch all damn day. Or they're having to go down to the bases of the ground and occasionally getting a hopper mouse. But the diet is so varied out there. They could be eating bats. Like the list goes on of the animals that they interact with in those branches. And so when we are taking them, not only are we taking them from the very tippy tops of the tree branches and I have Greg Maxwell's book on GTP if you ever feel bored and need to read something. So much education in that book. It's phenomenal. But
send me that link.
Yeah, I will. But we take them from these tree branches and they're used to a specific climate, blah, blah, blah. And now we're shoving them in a box and we're trying to simulate the same kind of thing that the rainforest has. And now we're feeding them these chunky, well-fed rats that have been grown on a farm and have little chubby bellies. And they're used to scrawny, parasite-riddled, middle of the mall, look like your great aunt's fuzzy dog in the corner that you think they're going to put down any day, but it's still going. You know what I'm saying? Like they're lacking something. And I forget this guy's name, so I feel so bad, but he started making a supplement and he was giving them to his snakes and he would have to keep it refrigerated. And he would make new every so often. And what he noticed is his females were no longer prolapsing. He was no longer having these problems. And the females were gaining a lot more weight. Because like the size of a ball python versus the size of a green tree female, like the ball python females are thick. You know what I'm saying?
Girthy,
and the green tree python females, they can be thick, but they're not like thick like a ball python. Well, his were getting to be like ball python thick, like so healthy. And I hate myself for not remembering his name. I bet I can look it up by the time we're done with this podcast and I'll know then. But he had a supplement and it was working phenomenal. And I wish that I had bought it when he was offering to sell me some. Yep. Diverse diets.
That's exactly what I do. So like with my retics, I do either quail, chick, or right now because they're still, you know, they're dwarf breed ticks, so they either eat quail chicken or I'll do like a bit large rat. I'll rotate depending. But like even my hog noses, they'll eat fish, chicken. They eat a baby chick. My female eats a baby chick, and she's still
Yeah.
like this little. So
And
I
I
mean,
do a mixture too for some of them. I wish I had done the dwarf with my Buffalo Bill. My goodness, he's gonna be giant. But yeah, Brooke, don't you have you been trying the Reptilinks or something?
I want to try that.
Okay, so
Brooke did though. Brooke has, I think.
Reptilinks, please give me a discount because it's like so much for shipping, and I get that because it's like dry ice and everything they have to ship with it.
Which is crazy. I remember you posting something about that, and I was like, "What? Can you tell me why? Do you know why? Why they have to ship them with dry ice?"
I think it keeps them like frozen so they don't go bad, I guess, essentially, because I think you should only defrost them one time before feeding them.
Oh, okay. Makes sense now. Like the chemical makeup, the chemical property that, okay.
Yeah, and I feel like just like even like with rodents too, when you like defrost, like every time you defrost them and refreeze them, like you're risking it. So like when I sold them at a pet store, I told people up to one time, like once you got it home, like you could take them out and then refreeze them. But even then, like, did I do that for my animals? No, my Tegu, he had a great day. But like, so Reptilinks, I really like just the different diets they have. I have to say though, since moving and breeding my own food, I think a big thing we don't talk about is the diets. So when you're giving anything Missouri, like a rodent or a bird, like whatever they're getting wise, and then that's all they're getting, obviously like your snake isn't getting a good meal.
Absolutely.
So if you're able to give them just a well-rounded like whole food diet, I think that's different. But I don't think that's like achievable for everyone. So I do think it's really important to give them different things. But I don't think rodents are the problem. I think their diets are the problem a lot of the time. So that's just something, because I have indigos and so do you, but Drymarchon, they are beasts.
They'll eat anything, everything. Oh my gosh.
And then they poop super fast, and then they're ready the next day. And like, especially with breeding season and stuff, like keeping that weight on females, you can't do that with birds and quail. Like chicks, quail, like frogs, like you just can't do it.
They burn through it. And you'd have to be feeding them essentially every single day, multiple times a day for them to keep it on. And it's like, who the frick has money for that?
Impossible. It's just something like you would literally go insane, and unless you had 10 of you to do it, like it's just like it's hard. So
I didn't know
that's
that.
what I try to explain to people is like, because it's something I'm learning and I'm shifting as a keeper too, because I was all about going to the different Asian markets and getting frogs and fish and all this different stuff. And I love doing it for them still. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But is it something that is going to hold their weight year round
and be sustainable?
No, absolutely not. And to shove that down people's throats, like as like something being, and I'm like, so that's when I sat back and I was like, okay, so like what's something I can change? And it is, what am I putting in my rodents? And so I've been changing that since, and I've noticed huge differences in my animals. And just overall, it's nice not having to clean up feathers and stuff all the time because gosh, do they come out pretty gross.
Oh my gosh, some of the crap that I pick up from the Drymarchon, I'm just like, who did this? And I'm like, I know it's her, but I'm like, what is this? Were you trying to finger paint? Why?
I literally named my first clutch after painters. So like the female I kept, her name is Warhol, because she literally like, they paint the walls. And like, I don't think people realize it. Like, and it's not like, and they don't do it all the time, but it's like, if you feed them birds, like, are they going to get the feathers on the ceiling or like really high up on the walls? 100%. They're going to say, let's go.
It was like a bird massacre. Like,
so
what do you say your dry moccasin snakes?
I think Reptilinks are a great option, especially if you're feeding like hog noses, different lizards. Like I really want to try it for my coming eye, my cyclura. I definitely want to try it for the indigos. Like there's lots of stuff I want to try it for. It was just the price point that like came down for me, because you have to order, I think, at least like $200 worth of stuff to get free shipping.
Right.
For reptile links?
Yeah.
Damn, that's a lot.
I don't feed snakes to my dry marchand, but it's definitely something you could do. And I also agree with I don't refreeze either. If my snake doesn't eat, I give it to the dry marchand.
Oh yeah.
My parents have eaten boa babies before because I did have stillborn babies before.
Did you?
So with my girl's first litter, so I feel like anytime she has something like that happen, or if we had like a scrub python or something that didn't make it, like, and we can do it, yeah, like I'll feed it to them. But
for your dry marchand, you said your dry marchand got two. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did she react?
Xena, she likes everything. So that's this girl. But she's been sleeping a lot lately. She will literally eat anything. I fed her a snail one time and she ate that too. Like she eats pretty much anything you give her. But like the other ones, like they kind of have like their palates of like what they eat and then
really
don't
particular.
Everyone likes frog though. I feel like frog is like the hands down. And I think
a family favorite.
It's definitely a favorite, yeah, for everyone. So that's why I think the Reptilinks would be a good one because they have the frog and the quail blended together. And I think like that's just a hit for Drymarchon or any like colubrid really if you gave it to them.
And you said what after the frogs? Because I spoke over you on accident.
Oh, I fed her a snail even, like because I had extra snail meat and I fed that to her. And they like chicken gizzards. Like they've eaten like different stuff like that. I don't, like I said, I don't do it all the time, but if I have something extra, of course, I'm going to feed it to someone.
What's up, Sam?
And they love the varied diet. They really do. And you can just tell how smart they are when you're feeding them because I don't know, like my female, she like really analyzes things before she just like goes massacre on it and then how fast they eat. I've never seen anything like it before in my life. Like if you've never seen a dry marchand eat before and then you see one eat compared to the other snakes, I'm like, girl, that was like 0.5 seconds. And then I walk into my green tree pythons, still got the rat rolled up in his body and looking at me like I'm the prey. I'm like, shut up, bro. Eat your rat. Like she's already ready for round 3 and you're looking at me with Google eyes with your damn animal in your arms. Like, well, not arms, because they don't have arms. You get what I'm saying. I'm like, focus on your meal, boy.
Yeah, I think they're just like something completely different because I breed boas and then I breed the Drymarchon and like just out of the like both of them when their first days on this earth, like Drymarchon, like they're just like they come out just like ready to take on the world.
Yes,
they're a lot more visual than a lot of snakes. So they're elapids basically. The closest.
See, I wanted to do Reptilinks, but somebody told me not to get them on a Reptilink feeding diet. Like they weren't that healthy for them.
I never did the research personally. The only thing where I was like, maybe is the casing. But I don't.
That's what I was curious about is what it's cased with. I haven't done it.
I think it looks like a hot dog to me. Like that, whatever they put on that hot dog, the casing on the hot dog. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, no, I think it's what it is. But is it a good digestible, like a regularly digestible product for your animal to be eating? I have no clue. So I'm not going to speak on that. But I think like if you were going to do it as a treat, or like some sort of like enrichment type diet, go for it.
Yeah, part of a varied diet, I think would not be harmful. Like strictly just Reptilinks, maybe not, but having it as one of your things in rotation, if you have a rotation, would be awesome. But with the dry marchand being receptive, like my girl's cage, she's the only one that's not in this room because they have to be kept so much cooler than the other snakes. And so she stays out in my living room because this room gets too hot for her to be able to handle. And every time I come home, she is at the glass, ready to greet me like she's a dog. Like she's ready. And I'll let her out and then she'll come over and hang out with me. And it's so neat how brilliant they are and like how observant and they watch everything, you know, like they say and when I say they, I don't know, people on the internet, okay, they say that they're as smart as king cobras and they really are. I mean, well, I guess I can't say they really are, like I know, because I've never met a king cobra in person. I haven't been like, hey, how are you? How smart really are you? Let's test your IQ. But they seem like They seem really intelligent to me. You know what I mean? Just how observant they are and everything. She's my only snake that's consistently gotten out when everything has been locked top notch. Like, I've checked everything. When I moved here, I had everything perfectly set. That chick watched me. I clicked my lock closed because I have the sliding locks. I clicked it closed and she watched it. And I was like, oh, she just being silly, goofy, her, you know what I mean? No, the chick was looking to see how much I clicked it closed. Who am I kicking?
The hornet's nest. That's what he said. I don't know.
Who is the hornet's nest? Faster than light? Tell me as I tell my story. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So she looked to see how long I pushed it in. And I left, right? I went to go hang out in my room. She comes in, slithering by. No, she looked to see how far I pushed it in so she could push her nose through the glass, little tiny sliver, and push it back just the right amount for how far it went to be safe.
I literally, when I first got into indigos, it was Xena. She was in an animal
female.
They're so dedicated. Like when they figure something out, they're just like, okay, done, like got it. And the males are just like, I'm gonna find the female no matter what.
The males are like, today I saw a balloon. And the females are like, and then I'm gonna take that missile and I'm gonna spread it to that Iraqi. I'm like, oh,
But it was a plexiglass like folding top one and with like the latches. And she figured out if she pushed in the middle, she could just get out. So I put her back and I watched her on camera. In 5 minutes when I put her back, she was like, all right, bet, and just got out and just did her thing. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So I literally had to like duct tape the entire front because no matter what I did, she remembered that she could push this pressure here or wherever and it could get her out. So the only reason I nod my head yes is I've never hands-on worked with like an elapid, but I worked with one at the zoo, in the Milwaukee Zoo. And just the way she studied our movements and just paid attention, indigos are just very similar. So that's why I'll like kind of say they're similar to elapids because the way that they pay attention and they have memories. I've even used a dog food puzzle for one of my indigos and he's figured it out. Like, They're not dumb snakes. And I feel like for colubrid speaking, like when you, like, I love rat snakes, but like their intelligence level, like it's not the same.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're definitely not the same. And the way y'all talking about these indigos, I need to get one. That's for sure.
They're, oh my gosh, they're just, if you ever get the chance to own one, they're just the coolest snake to be able to own. It's a rewarding experience, in my opinion, to own her. Like, I feel like it's a treasure to be able to have her. I mean, I was on a wait list for her. I was looking for a dry marchand for the longest time, and it just didn't work out because I was very picky. I wanted that red throat. And finally, CMB Reptile out here, they said, you know, hey, we have them. And I was like, no flipping way. Like, I'm coming right now. Like, you're open? They're like, yeah, we close in 30 minutes. I was like, I'll be there. I live 25 minutes away, but I'm going to buy it. So like, yes, I'll be there. And so I drove there and I was like, yes, I'll take her. And it was just the most exciting experience of my life. And sorry, green trees, don't be mad at me. And it still is the most, like, I still remember that day. And also Faster Than Life, I was not coming for cobras versus dry marchand. I was comparing them. And then I was saying, well, technically, I guess I can't because I've never met a king cobra. So I can't compare them. So no hornet's nest to kick here because I was admitting my fault at
True. You did say that. But do y'all like plan on making this like full time, or y'all just gonna keep it a hobby? Or
so I love breeding the dry marchand and I want to breed the cyclera. I do love working with the boas here and there, but I kind of want to taper back. My problem is I get like so emotionally invested in stuff that like my like indigo snakes, they require a lot of time and just like they do like to interact and come out and do those things. And
they do.
It's easier when you have one of them, but when you have 15 of them, like it's different.
Dang.
And so I want to keep breeding because I breed like really high red ones and it's something I'm just really passionate about.
I have to buy one from you.
Yeah, I'll have
for real, right?
I'll have to bring some babies out in a little bit, but
yes, please.
Like they're just such a different species of snakes. So like as far as breeding those, yes, always 100%. But like other stuff, like I said, over the years, especially the past 3 years, I've really cut back my collection because like I want to give the stuff that I really love like that attention. Not that I don't love the other stuff. It's just I have really highly intelligent lizards and then I have really highly intelligent snakes.
Yes,
So it becomes like a struggle like for like giving everyone my attention because they need that interaction. If you want to have the relationships that you have with these animals, like you have to spend the time. And I really always tell people and my followers, like, it's not me spending the time where I'm going in and grabbing this animal out. I literally open their enclosure, and if they choose to work with me, great. And that can be like an hour into it.
Yes.
Want to work with me, but like you only see that like 30-second clip like on my thing.
Yeah.
But like that's the whole thing with it is it's not just like, oh, 5 minutes here with this animal, 5 minutes here with this animal. Like that, I wouldn't have a relationship with the animals. Like I would get bit. I would have repercussions because like even if I go on vacation for longer than like 5 days, or I would say a weekend, like Rocco, my rhino iguana, he can have some spite towards me just because I abandoned him technically, or I like broke up his routine. And it's not like an emotional, like, I love you and you left me, so I'm mad at you. It's just like, you didn't provide for me. This is our normal routine. So now I'm suspicious of what your role is in my area.
Right. And a lot of reptiles with that consistency, they depend on that. And I think that's another thing a lot of people confuse is like, oh, my snake loves me. My lizard loves me. They actually depend on you for stability and you provide that. And when you change that up, they don't trust you anymore. And trust is such a hard thing to earn. It's a long process for you to gain the trust of your animal, and it can be taken away from you with the snap of a finger. It's so easy for you to have to start all the way back over again. And just like you said, if you were to go on vacation for too long of a time, your lizard would no longer trust you because he feels like you broke up his routine, like it was almost like an intentional, and not intentional obviously in his brain, but it's like an intentional thing that broke up that pattern. You know, they don't understand, oh, I'm going on a vacation, you know what I mean? And so it starts that whole process over. And another thing, if people really know about lizards and know what they're seeing, then they would know how much work you put into your lizards, because just the 30 seconds that you show, I mean, my God, with lizards, how skittish and scared they naturally are when it comes to things that are bigger than them. They are terrified, and the way they respond is on accidental violence. You know, it just is, you know. And I say accidental violence because them running away and you getting your entire arm shredded open is not them intentionally being Blue, the velociraptor in the Jurassic Park. You know, they're trying to escape you, or them biting you. It's all out of fear, you know? And so when people watch your videos, I hope that a lot of them know just how much work you are putting into them, because a lot of the lizards, when you get them, they are not calm. They are not chill. They are so much work. And, you know, especially if you get them at an older age, my goodness, trying to set the ways of a juvenile or an older lizard is like,
it's hard.
Nightmare fuel, for real.
It's so much harder. Like my female I just got, and she's not even massive, but she's bigger. She's 6 years old. So she could put me in the hospital. Like I would have to get stitches. Like I would maybe have to have surgery if she grabbed me. And that's just something like you have to know, I think, as a keeper as well, because again, we don't talk about it as much. And I don't post bites personally. Like I don't want to. Tegus, that's another animal too. Like not to be like going on all these tangents.
No, you're fine. That's what we're here for.
I love my Tegus so much, but like one thing, he was my first big lizard that I ever got. And I think people need to talk about their behavior a lot more, because they're so calm in captivity is because they're mostly obese. Tegus are kept properly. They are more agitated. They move
They're
around.
violent.
No, like my
She's out there violent.
they literally, like, he scares me sometimes because, like, I have to open the door, feed him like he's like a dinosaur, get him to like calm down a little bit, and then he can come out. But like, he goes so fast and he's not thinking and he just wants food that he will do damage.
Healthy Tegu,
but yeah,
healthy Tegu are, and especially like ones that haven't been handled very often. Because I used to work at a local pet shop here, and they would get in the Tegu, and they wouldn't always be babies. They're not just the cute little tiny little, oh, precious. No,
guys, you see,
yeah, they're not always just the little tiny guys. Some of them were decent size, and they weren't obese, and they weren't handled very often. And I got to clean their enclosures, and I got to feed them. And a couple times I had to like literally talk to myself in the mirror before I would go in there. And I was like, listen, you're going to do great. You can do this. And you're not going to freak out because it's not the Tegu's fault. It's going to be your fault if you freak out. But they would just be so violent. And then it's just like the running at you and the hissing and the tail flipping and the, and I've had the black throat, the black throat he was cute when he did it, when he was little. But when you're getting these Tegus that are already a decent size and they're pissed off at you and at the world, you're like, okay, buddy, chill.
Yeah. Do you still have your black throat?
No, I gave him to a local, it's a shop, but it's also like an educational center. When I was moving, my ex wouldn't take him. And I was speaking to the people that I was going to be renting from. And I said, can I have a lizard? And they said, well, how big is your lizard? And I was like, he's like a foot. And they were like, no. And he was like 4 feet. And I was like, but he's a little guy. And they were like, no. And they were like, how many snakes do you have again? And I was like, 3. And they're small. And they were like, okay. And so
I hope they don't watch this podcast. I'm like, I hope they don't watch this podcast.
Oh, okay. I'll post a video tomorrow with a little sad knapsack on my shoulder and like a green tree. Like I'll have a green tree like image like put on here, like I'm carrying a green tree. And so I reached out to a guy named Declan that runs this shop out in Apache Junction, and I said, I'm absolutely heartbroken. I do not want to give up Puffin. It's the last thing I could ever possibly want to do, but this is the only place I've found that will take both of my dogs and 3 snakes, and nowhere else that I've talked to will take both of my dogs or any snakes. So can we work something out? And he said, I will keep your lizard here for you, and he will not be sold. He will stay here, and he was like, is he tame? And I was like, yeah. I started sending him videos and like showing him like what a good boy he is. And it makes me a little emotional because the work that I put into that lizard, it was just like such a connection to him. You know what I mean? Like he was like a dog, you know what I mean? Like the brilliance in a lizard is just something else. And the connection that you get with a lizard. Yes, I love my snakes, but they cannot connect to me the way that my lizard did, So he said that he was going to keep him and he could be for educational purposes when kids come and do different things for them. And so he's there and he's happy and he's a good boy. He kept his promise to me because I said, you better behave because you behave for me. And if you go and you're bad, then he's going to think I'm a liar. And so he went and he said, oh yeah, he is a good boy. So he's there and I can go visit him whenever I want to. Declan is mom. Yep, he sure is. Yes, he's cool. He has a pigeon. I forgot. No, not a pigeon. A dove? He has a dove, a pet dove. That dove pecks my head every time I go in that shop, and it's not very nice, but I let it. So he has a capybara too, a pet capybara. I didn't even know those were legal to keep out here until I saw Declan's, and then I was like, all right. And he has an emu that follows him around like a puppy.
Goals.
That's like, awesome.
He's like literally. I don't even have a word for him. He's just like
Brooke said it. Gold.
Zoo man. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie though. Like when people take the time and they, tame their animals, and I see all the effort I put into that, I love that.
Oh my gosh, an emu following you around at full size, like it's a puppy, bro. You tell it to sit and it says when, like.
Get it.
That's awesome though.
I know.
Like, sit, emo.
Emus. Yeah, I'm used to emus, and I'm looking at an emu, and I'm like, if you don't bite me, I won't bite you. Like, let's make a mutual agreement here. Like, I'm gonna walk away, and you're not gonna peck my eyeballs out. That's what I'm used to with emus. The fact that it follows him around, I mean, it's freaking cool. He's got a way with animals.
Dr.
He is Doctor. He is Dr. Doolittle.
That's
He
really
does live his best life. He really, really does.
But what was I gonna say though? There's a guy in here that wanted a giraffe. It's Chuck from Chondros.
If he has the space for it.
Yeah, he does.
That's a big.
And he was like either that or a helicopter.
What?
Yeah, so it's either a helicopter or a giraffe. Oh, look, he's right here.
Feed?
Chill Chondros, that's what it is right here. This guy.
You have to feed one, and you don't have to feed the other.
Yeah, but you gotta get jet fuel or gas or whatever the helicopter takes.
But if you forget about your helicopter, it's still gonna be there when you come back. If you forget about your giraffe, he's gonna starve and die.
I don't know. He was always like, I just want to wake up to it and then have a little window for it so I can get up and feed it lettuce. Like, he had goals. That's goals. I'm like, oh, like if I had a pet giraffe, like, yeah, here you go, man.
He's gonna grow a banana plant in his house just so he can pull the leaf off and feed the giraffe from his window in the morning. like a sunroof thing.
He said, Chuck in that goddamn giraffe. Man, that's funny.
What would he name it? That's what we need to find out. What would he need the chopper and what would he name the giraffe? That will help me really.
Oh, that was a good question. I didn't even ask that. Damn.
Because if it's a stupid name for the giraffe, then get the chopper. Yeah.
She's like, already, get the chopper.
Like if you're naming the giraffe Spots, save your money, bud. Get a chopper.
Jerry, if it's Jerry, get a.
Are y'all LLC or do y'all just keeping it hobby level?
Just hobby for me. I don't know, but I don't personally like if you would have asked me 2 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, I'm gonna be a breeder. Like this is what I'm doing. But like now, no. I really just like doing it on a small scale, and I don't have anything against like big breeders, but I just don't understand how they do it, because when you have so many, you just don't have the time.
Oh my God.
That's a great idea, Intrepid. Now, who cares what he names the giraffe? He can get both.
You can just carry it, lift it.
He can just tell his wife, look, over there, a bird, and then turn around and run to get it.
Hey, Tori. We're past an hour, just so you know.
Okay.
No, I'm just letting you know. That went quick, right?
Yeah, we're having fun, though.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I told you it was going to be fun.
She's like, I don't hate it too much now.
So, I know with all the information you guys know, all the education, what advice would you give someone starting out in the reptile hobby?
Embrace every moment, don't rush through the keeping and in the hobby. Wow, that sounded so broken up. I'm like, keep animal, love animal, many wish. No, I feel like you shouldn't rush the process, like enjoy, like really do your research and treasure your animals. Don't feel like you're behind, because I think that's a big thing, is like when you get into the hobby and you start seeing all these keepers, you're like, oh my gosh, they have like 30, 40 animals. I'm so behind. I have to catch up. Like I need to get this and I want this and I have to get this. And then we start to forget about the little Susie snake that we got. That was our first snake, and it just sits in the corner and we're getting all these other snakes. And I feel like you should appreciate the process and realize that a lot of these breeders are, they've been here for years and years. They enjoyed the process, and you don't want to rush it, because you're going to turn around and be like, what? Where's all the time gone? And I learned the hard way. I was that person. I went into the hobby. Yeah, I had animals when I was little, but into serious keeping, I wanted it all, and I spent the money to do it. And before I knew it, I had 47 snakes and 40 turtles and 60 tarantulas. And at one time I had 156 tarantulas, because then I was breeding tarantulas, and it was like so time consuming. And I was still teaching children and working at the restaurant on the weekends. And it was like, and getting in and being into my car at the time, like just then getting a car and everything, and trying to spread myself too thin. And it was like, it was too much, even for somebody not doing all that other stuff that I mentioned. Like, just, I didn't focus on the one thing that I loved. the positive about it was that I learned what species I really was passionate about. And I really do believe that the only way you can figure out what you love is if you've experienced it with your hands. You know, you have to, if you're not going to buy it, if you're going to be wise enough to not buy it, be around people that have them so you can experience them, you can hold them, you can take care of them, and then you really realize what you're passionate about, because then you can hone your craft. You can see what are you in love with, what can you not live without at the end of the day. That's the species you want to keep, then that's what you should focus on, you know. So it's a positive that I did learn that, but for new keepers, I wish that they will take the time to enjoy, smell the roses, you know, don't rush. It's not a rat race, like somebody said earlier. It's you learn and you work at your own process, you know. Ask the questions, don't be afraid to ask. And if somebody answers you in a rude way, then they're a dickhead. Move on to the next person, because for every 3 dickheads there's going to be 10 nice people that are going to answer your questions, you know. And don't take things too personal, you know. Have thick skin if you're going to be in this hobby. Have thick skin like your snakes, because if you don't, it's going to be really hard for you and you're going to be really cynical and cold to the world. You have to have a sense of humor to be a reptile keeper. You do. That's my advice.
I feel like, just to build off of that a little bit, like, I agree, just like slow and steady wins the race. I think it's super important that you go to different pet stores or places that will let you get that hands-on experience where you can see different species before you just buy it on Morph Market. Like, and Morph Market is great if you know what you want, but like if it's just a spontaneous like birthday present buy or whatever these people do half the time, it makes me just really scared, because like I feel like the biggest flex that you can have in this hobby is like having your animals set up properly.
Yep.
And that's like something that I personally work on every single day. And when I do make a sale, it literally goes back into my enclosures and upgrades and everything for these animals, because that's something I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have these babies if these animals didn't give it to me. So like they need to have the best of the best before we can go forward with anything. But I just think slow and steady, and you don't need to have every single animal to like be okay.
Yeah, grow your snakes, you know, let them get big before you start getting huge in the hobby. Another thing too that is really cool is a lot of reptile shops will let you work there for free. They can always use the hands and they love it. So if you really want some experience with animals and you're not afraid to donate your time, they will take you. There are so many shops that will let you come in and you can work with those animals and get the kind of knowledge. Like I gained a lot of knowledge working at reptile shops out here, and some of them I worked at for free because I just wanted the education, and you can't get it unless you're hands-on, you know. That's where I started learning about green trees and got so passionate about them, and then met really cool green tree people. Like shout out to Patrick Holmes, shout out to Bill Stiegel. Like they have taught me and helped me through some of the hardest things, you know, when it comes to keeping green trees when I was first getting into that. And shout out to Alex, like he's amazing. He's helped me with a lot too. He doesn't really do green tree pythons, but he does the more venomous species. But just
Alex lives here in San Antonio though, by the way.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So
yeah, he's my homie. He's a cool person, really
yeah,
cool.
he's gonna I actually talked to him, so I'm hoping like he takes me in and like shows me how to work with the venomous, because I actually want to get into venomous.
Yeah, that's cool.
Are we saying Alex England?
Yes, Alex.
Sorry. He's super cool for sure. I talked to him about boas too, because he works with like the leopard. Well, yeah, I think he was working with like boa stigma a little bit too, just like the variations. Because the thing is boa stigma got crossed with BCI just for like coloration and different stuff like that. So there is a lot of not pure ones in the hobby, but it doesn't really matter because they have really cool colors and stuff. So that's what people are going for anyways.
Yes, that's life. Yeah, working for free at the shops, like that's where I learned a lot of my knowledge, and that's where I got to kind of figure out, yeah, you do. They're awesome people, by the way. I love Dana and Bill. They're super cool people, really down to earth, and I want that silver dry marchand that they have. I want him.
Yeah, I love Bill.
They have a silver phase, and it's just the most stunning snake I've ever seen in the world. But they have a really cool species that they make their mascots that you get to see at the shop that are really, really neat here in Arizona. And they're just really cool people. They're really, really neat.
Amazing, awesome people. And when I got that tattoo, he's like, "Your family for life, man." I love them. Like, I would loved to be any other any other family. Like, their family to me. I love Bill. I love.
Oh, she's gonna get the babies.
Oh, she's gonna get them right now.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, Bill is getting into retics now, right?
Yes, Bill is. Yeah. No, I thought he was getting out of retics and going into balls.
Oh, is he?
Well, because the last post I saw, he got rid of a bunch of his retics.
Oh, maybe I read the text wrong.
Did you just go in?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure. The only one that might know is this guy, Levi.
So this is one of my babies from last year. This is a
Hold on. There we go.
So,
oh my God, that's gorgeous.
He needs to go into shed. He's even a lot more red, but he's really pretty. But they're just one of my favorite snakes because they really do pay attention. They are looking at you, like the way that you can like make eye contact with them and they'll take a minute. Sometimes it's just a really cool thing. The one thing I will say though is like they always have a really strong food drive. So it's kind of just like getting in there and not hesitating with them. Because if you do hesitate or pull back and they're having a food response, they're just gonna go after you.
They're just gonna bite on your hand.
Not really. They just like rush at you. I never really had one like chew on me. It's always just been like a quick bite. They realize what you are, and then they're like, okay, whatever. But they're smart. They know like if they've bitten into something like that, they shouldn't.
Yeah, Corpse, my dry Marshawn, she's only bitten me once, and it was total accident. I was cleaning her enclosure, and I was being lazy. I'm gonna be honest, I was just being lazy. And she went to bite me and realized that I was not what she thought I was, and she released really, really fast and like moved away really, really quickly, which is cool because their bites could be extremely painful if they decided to actually crush your bones, which they absolutely could.
One of the worst bites like I took was from a 6-foot Texan indigo, and it was an adult male, and like he bit my arm and started chewing for a second, and like it bled a lot, and then it was just sore. It was really, really sore for like the next like couple of days, but then it was like fine. But I was just like, it wasn't bad until he started chewing, and that's where I was just like, I wouldn't ever want to get like with breeding and stuff, because like they can be cannibalistic. Like it's very brutal. Like you just always want to make sure that here's some like better reds on him.
He's pretty. Yeah, the black-headed pythons are cannibalistic too. You can't.
I love those. Those guys are badass.
My male is a goofball, but yeah, you can't. When you're breeding them, you have to be real careful because the female will eat the male. Because the male stays smaller than the female, she will eat him as a snack. You know?
How is he for like?
No, he just says it like us.
How is it black-headed for handling? Because like I know like Aspidites like overall like they can like get to a point of handling where they're just like over it and then they're kind of mouthy. Like is he kind of that way? Like does he follow that like characteristics, or is he pretty chill?
He's a gem. What's weird about him is because I had the bigger female that my ex took. His feeding response is very odd. So when I go to feed him, he does a lot of head bobbing and like this and flapping his body around, and then finally he'll latch onto it, and it's a lot of just weird dancing. But when I get him out, he's an angel. He's a gem. It's like once I get him out, he stops flopping around like a fish, like SpongeBob would say, and then he's just chill, and I can keep him out as long as I want to. He doesn't do anything mouthy, and he's just a good boy.
That's awesome.
And my female didn't do that either. And I would have her out quite a while. Now she would. I could tell, and I don't know how I could tell. I just could tell when she was like over it, but she wouldn't do anything with her mouth or anything. She would just like be more like you know, like the flinchy when you go to touch them and they're just like not having it. I'm like, okay, well I'll put you out. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. Yeah, and I wonder too, that probably could be like a feeding thing, like how often you're feeding them and working them and stuff. Like if he's pretty used to you, he's probably going to be better behaved.
Yeah.
Those guys are really cool species.
They're awesome.
Me.
Yeah, and like some of the different like patterns and colors. I don't want to say morph. I guess it's morph, but like the tangerines, oh my gosh, they're insane. And they're just, I guess it is a morph, but I just feel weird calling it a morph because it's like the same pattern, but just a brighter orange. You know what I mean? Like at their base root, they're still a black-headed python and they still have the stripes. They're just bright orange versus the dark, but I guess it would be a morph.
Well, yeah. Well, and there's, what was it? Is it the Swiss line that they have of those that are very like hypo, just like super pigmented almost compared to like some other ones? And then
the Swiss line is stupid expensive.
Those ones are pretty.
Always.
I will not hate on those. I think the Xanthics are pretty too. I think
they are.
The black-headeds with like the really thick black on their back, like I think that's really pretty too. I feel like you can't really get a bad black-headed python. But yeah, no, that's interesting. I don't know how many different morphs there are like considered now with like breeding.
Still not a lot. Still not a lot for the blackheads. You know, they're what's kind of weird but also cool is that these new morphs are relatively, I guess, new for like the reptile hobby when it comes to like black-headed pythons and different type of morphologies and stuff. Because when I look back, when I've done a little bit of research, the years are not, you know, like for example, ball python morphs when they go back, you know, years and years and years and years versus these blackheads and the accessibility also with these morphs with the blackheads. Whereas 5-6 years ago, it was very hard to get a hold of some of these, like the tangerines, stuff like that. And nowadays it's like, okay, well, if you have the money, send it on over. You know what I mean? And you find somebody that's capable of doing it, you're capable of buying it, you know?
Facts.
What it comes down to is money.
Yeah, sure.
The project, like they'll do it. Like someone will send
And I was gonna ask that question too. Like, if you had the money, what is one snake you would add to your collection? And Tori already said what snake. So,
what snake did I say?
I can't remember. You said it earlier. Or do you want to say what snake you would get if you had the money?
A Bolin's python.
Oh, okay. That's not the snake you said earlier. Definitely not.
Yeah, I get a Bolin, or get another. Get a full sickness from Bill Stiegel.
You literally have the same list as me.
A full sickness, or an Amazon basin, the snowflake Amazon basin. Holy moly!
What is it? Ed Marino. He's got the alien line. He's got the alien line. That's insane.
Yeah, he's cool. His snakes are
Man, y'all need to send me these people or these pictures because I'm Marino? Like, what y'all talking about?
I just be drooling. I just be drooling over his page.
Cool stuff. I was eyeballing lately. I don't need any other Drymercon, but those Yucatons, they were.
My laptop's at 9%. I'll be right back.
They were the. Yeah, it was a black-tailed Crebo, the Yucatan locality.
Crebos. I really want a Crebo too.
Body with a black tail. It was really slick. But I don't have $5,000 for one snake, so.
Oh yeah, I know. We interviewed Bill Stiegel. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think I was talking to them when we did that interview though.
Bill Stiegel with Phoenix Reptiles.
Yeah, we did an interview.
Phoenix Reptiles, and I was like, "Wait, you're in Phoenix?" And he's like, "No, I'm in Texas." I'm like,
"Yeah, he's in Dallas."
His name is Phoenix Reptiles. Like I
never asked. He's too much of a god. He's too much of a god to me for me to ever ask such a question.
I was
like, what are you talking about? That's how I feel like right now. I'm like this, and y'all are like way like man. But I don't know. This is awesome. I love this podcast.
You were asking something, Brooke.
What?
About I want to say about Crebos.
Oh, I was just saying that I was really digging those Yucatons. Okay, Rogue, relax.
Let me see that one.
This girl is really cool.
So pretty.
She's super red. I wish I had better lighting, but.
Man, I love her side.
This girl, when she gets big, like I cannot wait. She's gonna pair to that other male. So I bred unrelated pairs this year so I could raise up the holdbacks to have future clutches. of unrelated babies, and I'm breeding for this high red, and like this girl is pretty insane, and then I have her brother that is very insane with just very light coloring and reds. So I'm very excited to work with them.
It's gorgeous.
But this will be in store for me in the future. Some more.
Wait,
babies.
didn't I hit you up one time to buy a indigo?
I don't know. Okay, so a lot of people hit me up, but then when I say the price, they don't respond.
I don't even think you told me a price.
Oh, really? Well, yeah. I don't know. If we weren't like friends on Instagram, it wouldn't come through to like my direct messages. I get a lot of spam messages. I don't know if you get the same.
I think it was my first account. I messaged you.
Okay.
And then it got what do you call it? It got hacked.
Oh, it got hacked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have 3 babies still available from last year. They are going to be, let me see. They're not related. So the one I had out prior to this, they're going to be related to him. And their parents, like I have pictures of their pairing and stuff. Their parents are the high red parents. They're just not as high red as my holdbacks, obviously.
How much are they?
They're $1,600 each. Plus
that's not bad.
No,
people don't text you back after.
Really?
Ew.
That's not bad at all.
So I do always respond. If someone messages me and asks me how much they are, I always respond to them. But it is just very common where I respond and then I never get a response. So obviously I'm not going to dig after that, but I know they're a higher price snake and like, it's not something that I want people impulse buying. So like, I'm not upset when they don't like pull the trigger immediately. But it's definitely, it comes with the territory of working with Drymarchon, I think, especially too. And I'm not a breeder that's recognized. You have your black pearl reptiles, and a couple others that like they are the indigo face of the community. And I think like with time, like more people will know, and I feel like my animals will just kind of show for themselves.
Well, and some people forget, like when you start getting into different kinds of species and you start getting more specific, the price is gonna go up. You know, you're starting to get a more acquired taste, which comes with more acquired money. It's not, you cannot sell these animals for a cheap price because it just doesn't work that way. Like you're paying for lineage, you're paying for health, you're paying for basically a stamped certificate proving that this is a healthy, beautiful, high-end line of animal that is going to be with you for many, many years to come. Like
I told people last year when I was in Illinois, I said, I heated my apartment. I incubated my entire apartment for 115 days. And I was like, you can pay for some of that. Because it wasn't just that, like they eat me out of house and home. So the price comes with the baby.
And people talk about like the starting out struggles with animals, you know, like my apartment, now that I moved into an apartment, gets hot as hell with this smart heater and the humidity. I come home at the end of the day and I can feel the moisture in the house because even though it's locked into this room, you know, it still leaks underneath the door. Yeah. I can feel it when I walk in and my temperature stays different in my house. Like my boyfriend comes over and he's like, oh, it's so hot. And I'm like, I can turn it down, but as soon as you leave, I'm turning it back up. Like it's going to be warm in here. Like my house is toasty for my animals. And I just learned to live with it. You know what I mean? I don't mind it.
Yeah.
And like you said, you know, you made your house to fit what your animals needed, you know, and if you don't have a expensive house or a big house, you know, then you have to make accommodations for what you have. And honestly, I would actually be kind of scared if I had a bigger house, like to try and meet the needs that your animal needs just to one room. You know what I mean? It sounds like it would be harder if you didn't have everything perfect.
You just really have to make sure you're like species specific. Like that's what I've learned. Like the nice thing at my old place was I made it so my tegu was underneath my indigos. So like he heated all of them. So like they were always like perfect where they were never getting too chilly. Because there were some times where it was like dropping in like the lower like 60s and like that's not too cold for them, but it's just like not what I want them at all the time. So definitely having like that underheat was helping them. But here, since I moved to Texas, especially West Texas, I've really struggled with humidity. Even though like the indigos, like these guys are drier. I feel like even when I open the doors, it'll turn to like 2% humidity in the house sometimes. And it's just like, that is not ideal, especially for like Cyclera and other stuff. Like I have a kind of an X of like different animals, just like super humid and then super dry. So like, it's hard to like, if I had separate rooms, I feel like it'd be easier to make like little micro habitat, like
right. That does make sense. Yeah. With the green trees too, like I've learned by like successes and failures when it comes to rooms with carpet. I will never do that again when it comes to a reptile room because it was so gross and hard to manage with the humidifier and the heater and I don't know why, but I would just get anxiety like that my heater was going to burn my house down being on my carpet. I don't know if I'm just stupid for that or what, but it would just stress me out. And then like walking into the room after the humidifier has been on all day and stepping onto the carpet just felt like a mushy it was awful. And so now like having the room be with the flooring the way that it is and having the green trees in a specific room, it's just the controlled climate is everything. And I can see it, you know, with the shedding and how the animals are behaving. Like when I first moved here, I had a lot of animals that did not want to eat. And I knew that was going to happen. I knew because they were moved. Even though they moved 5 minutes down the road, I already knew I was going to have some finicky animals. But once the humidity was right and once the heater was right, then it was like clockwork, you know. And now every single one of them eats when they're supposed to, they defecate when they're supposed to, they shed when they're supposed to, and they're all working in a symbiotic relationship. And the flooring is everything. I have an Arcadia door in here too, which I was like I don't know, I was like kind of stressed out about at first, but now I've like really grown to love it because the snakes get a natural day cycle. You know, with that light coming through, they get in Arizona, it's going to be winter and it's still going to be sunny out. You know what I mean? Like there's obviously sun's everywhere. I don't know, it's kind of stupid, but you know what I mean? Like based off different areas that you live and stuff, like they're constantly getting this fluctuation of day to night. And Arizona's winters are not even that cold. So it's like, it's pretty close to consistent when it comes to the year round situation for them. The humidity sucks because it's Arizona. It's awful, but the humidifier that I have is huge, so that's been helping a lot with the animals.
We're right by each other, so I feel like we have like very similar climates as far as that go. I went from having 2 dehumidifiers in Illinois to multiple humidifiers in Texas.
Wait.
Intrepid. Yeah, we have like one lake.
I was like, you're in Texas?
We have more
than
one.
In Texas.
Huh.
But yeah, you moved, right? You moved?
Yeah, so I didn't like make it like super like public or anything.
Right,
but I took the animals 21 hours in a car and we drove to El Paso, Texas.
Are you happy?
I don't like El Paso really, but I do like Texas and it's like a starting point. So like I got to Texas and like that was the main thing for me. I work for ReptiChip, which is in San Antonio, Texas. So eventually I would like to like meander over there. Or like
that's where I'm at.
Okay. Yeah. So I would like to move over there one day. I work for JT, so want to get over by him. And then if that doesn't work, like I would definitely like to do like Austin area, like outside of Austin.
I was actually trying to work with him, but he never got back to me. Yeah. I applied too. I was like,
well, you should have messaged me. Now you know.
Now I know. Because I was like, yeah, that'd be dope to work with, like, do that stuff. So
yeah, no, I know he was hiring something for a warehouse person for a while, but then it like closed out. I just found them like when I like went here because I was looking for a remote job and they were looking for like a media content like manager like / like director of marketing type job, and I have a degree in human resources. So like before I like got heavy into animals, I went to school, like business school, to open a dog training facility actually, and that all went sideways when I fell into reptiles really hard in college. And then I ended up going and getting an internship at the Milwaukee Zoo, working there for a while in the reptile and aquarium building, and then like floating around here and there. And then when JT was like hiring for something like that, I was like, I can kind of blend like my business background and then my animal knowledge, because husbandry and pretty much diet, I would say, are like my two like top passions for like reptiles. That's why I always tell people to focus on that stuff.
The monsoons are not consistent either. You're like, yeah, you're gonna have monsoons in August, and then like we have a monsoon in the middle of winter, and I'm like, what is going on? Why is it flooding on this main road? Yeah, the lakes are. I don't know. Yeah, the lakes are. They're. Yeah.
I have nothing. I think it was Phoenix. We drove through Phoenix when we went to the the Pomona show.
I'm sorry.
Year. And you guys had like black ice, and there was like semis flipped over and stuff. And I'm just like driving, and I was just like, okay, this is normal. Like, this is the desert, totally normal.
Black ice in the desert. That's crazy.
Flipped over semis, and I'm just like, and I couldn't see the signs because there was like black ice over the signs, and I was just like, this is totally normal.
She's all laughing.
That was like my only like interaction.
I took somebody out herping out here once, and they weren't from here, and we legit saw a tumbleweed, and they were like, "What the is that?" And I was like, "You've never seen that before?" And they were like, "No, what is it?" I was like, "Do you see it tumbling? It's a weed. It's a tumbleweed." I was like, "Are you okay?" You want to check in with you? Yeah. Black stuff ain't no joke. You are so correct, bro. That place is terrifying in itself. First off, let's not even get into that. Okay. Flagstaff is its own state. All right, honey. I don't even associate with Flagstaff. But Flagstaff is terrifying with the snow and everything. I can't drive in the snow. One time I tried in my Jeep and I did a 360 and I was in the same spot I started in. Sent it 80 in Phoenix and an hour north of that.
Yeah, I think it was.
Oh, sorry.
I think it was Flagstaff that we drove through, or maybe got gas in. But yeah, that weather was insane. Like, I just didn't expect that for Arizona at all.
Yeah, Arizona's a trip.
It sounds like it. It sounds fun, but I mean, I wouldn't live out there.
It's literally the Wild West out here. I'm not even kidding you. Okay. Yeah, I herp. I every once in a while. You know, I'm really busy a lot, but I try to at least a couple times a year and make a night of it. I go at night. I don't like the mornings. I'm not a morning person, so I don't go in the morning. I go when it's pitch black outside.
Do y'all know Johnny Venom?
It sounds familiar. Yes, Johnny. Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny Venom. Yeah, he cool. Works at Nerd now. Yeah, or he lives there, one of the two. But yeah, he's supposed to be coming on here with Kevin.
He's a really cool guy.
Yeah.
I really like Johnny. Yeah.
I talk to Johnny like every other day, legit. And it's always about workouts. He's all, try this workout, do this workout. I'm like, bro.
And he is so down to earth, which is really cool. You know, like some people will change based off their following and stuff.
You're right, Levi.
He is just so real, you know. He's just so real and down to earth, and he'll have a full conversation with you and not be too busy for you, and just a good human being. So yeah.
And awesome. I've noticed that too, and we click, like we just always talk. We're always talking. I like his elephant trunk snakes, like.
Yeah,
he's like, dude, when you get a pair here, he's like, I'll come down there and I'll help you set up the enclosures for them. Like, I'll show you how to do it all. Yeah.
They're derpy but adorable. And you said Kevin McCurley's coming on?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. He's cool.
Kevin. Yeah, I know. Awesome. I mean, it's when I started the podcast back up, like more doors started opening up for me. It's just been amazing. So, and then to have you two on, it's even better. Like, it's awesome.
Thank you. Kevin is awesome too. He's really down to earth as well. Like he does not let his image. You know who else too though? Tyler Nolan. Tyler Nolan is really down to earth and a really cool guy. He's which is really awesome because a lot of these people that have these huge followings with these reptile accounts, you know, you would think based off of some other creators that don't keep reptiles, or some other creators of other things that are jerks because of their following. These people like Tyler Nolan, Kevin McCurley, Johnny Venom, they're just good people. Like Alex England, like even Alex England should have a way bigger following than what he does on Instagram.
Exactly. I agree.
He keeps to himself. You know what he does? He lets the snakes talk for him. He doesn't
and he
do
does.
the videos, and he doesn't do the reels, and he doesn't entertain all that crap.
Just pictures.
And you know what's crazy too is like his name is out there everywhere, and he doesn't do any of the talking. It's everybody else that buys his animals. You know, when they go to the shows and they see the genuine quality of his animals, that does all the talking. But all these other people that have the huge followings, they are really down to earth people. And I was really surprised when I got a chance to talk with some of these people and get to know them and then consider them friends, like how down to earth some of these people really are, because like they have such a huge platform, and you see that like they actually stay to themselves, you know, like they have these huge platforms and they show themselves to the world. And then you like talk to them like, well, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just chilling at home, you know, with the family. Like, oh, you're not gonna go do anything? No, you know what I mean? Like they're to themselves, like they give so much to everybody, and then they're like really just chill.
Humble.
They're not out. Yeah, they are really, really humble. So that's really cool. You're gonna have Kevin and Johnny on your podcast. That's really cool. I'm excited to watch that. Do you know when they're coming up?
Not yet. We're working on some dates because Johnny's always traveling.
Yeah. He's
Johnny's
a busy boy. Busy boy.
Johnny's like, I'm gonna get back to you with some dates and see when Kevin can too. So he's like, right now I'm just traveling a lot. And I was like, dude, I understand. You know, just let me know when. So, but yeah, other than that, like he's cool as hell. Like you said, they're cool people. I love them.
Yeah.
And then like when I meet new breeders too, like you say, they always meet somebody that's always giving them shit or like, what are you doing? Like, why would you do that? Don't do that. Do this. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
You know, the people that talk the most, they know the least, honestly. The ones that flap their beak the most, like talking shade to you and like being rude and hateful, they don't. It's the people that are quiet. The people that stand on their own at their own booth or that don't say anything, those are the people you want to reach out to and talk to and take advice from. Not the people that are taking the time to come and talk shit on your post or taking the time to come and talk shit to you to your face or say something rude to you. It's the people that are quiet, minding their own, doing their own thing. Like, at least that's what I've learned. And it's the same for the car scene too, you know? The guy that's standing by his car silently with a car that is worth $100,000 and not making any comments, he's the one that knows the most and is the nicest. And then the other kids that drive I'm not even going to name names of cars because all cars matter, okay? That are driving things that are not as nice as the $100,000 car. Well, the last guy said I was kicking the hornet's nose. I don't want to kick any nests, okay? The ones that are talking the most smack have the most rundown crap. And I'm like, bro, that's what you spend your money on. And why are you speaking about my vehicle? So, I mean, it just shows more of their character than anything else. And I'm glad that you have thick skin and you can just ignore it. Brooke, do you even get any haters on? You're just so nice and your videos are so
right. I'm just like,
put together.
no.
Like, she just hand fed this baby lizard. Like, who's gonna be mean to her? Like, who's gonna be mean to you? You hand fed a baby.
Right.
I mean, I feel like no matter where you go on the internet, you're gonna get hate in
backlash,
some way or shape or form. And I think a lot of it is just the people just don't know. Like, I can't tell you how many people call Rocco a green iguana. Like, and they'll be like, I had one like 20 years ago. And I'm like, well, if you had him 20 years ago, he'd still be here if it was a rhino iguana. So I was like,
oh my God. Definitely not a green iguana. You could tell it's not green.
I had him 20 years ago and he got too big, so I let him go.
So there's just like people like that, I feel like. And then I stay out of it. I think
oh my God.
There's a lot
Shots fired. Oh my gosh, shots fired. You're so funny. Let's move on from that comment because I'm not trying to kick any nests.
I think there's just a lot of like drama in the community regardless, and I just stay out of it and I do a really good job at
me too.
I was in it for a while and I've been out of it now. Like I moved across country to get away from everything. So like I feel like I'm doing a really good job of just staying in my own lane. And if someone asks me something, I will 100% give them advice. But I'm not going to be messaging people or telling people how to do things because I just don't get it. Like, I don't get why people do that. And like,
yeah, me either.
I have my small group of friends that I talk to that keep reptiles, and like they're very close and important to me. But then I have like my expo friends that I am nice to and I see, but like they don't know like what makes me tick. And I think that's super important as like a creator to have like your friend group, but then have that privacy. And I think that is what helps me keep doing what I'm doing, is to keep my privacy, because I like living a private life. And when I blew up on social media, that changed. And I don't think people knew this, but like 3 years ago, I had 3,000 followers. Now I have 100,000 followers. So like that's a huge shift for me.
It's big.
It's not like I hate it, but it's like when people are messaging me telling me like my cages aren't good, or this isn't good, or like my iguana should be this size, even though they didn't go and see the video that I rescued him and he's smaller because of his previous situation. Like when people go out of their way to do that stuff, it's just like, for me to post a 30-second clip of just having a good time with him to get all that backlash, I'm just like, I don't want to deal with it. But when I see other content creators like stirring the pot, or like being like, if you do this, then we can't be friends. Like, I don't like that culture, and you'll never see me in that culture. I don't see the need of making someone feel bad because they're not doing something the way that you're doing. Especially when there's 100 different ways to do things. And like reptile keeping was founded because like someone kept a reptile in a box for like set amount of time. So like that's what they're going off of every single time.
And they're like, it lives.
So they're like,
we can keep doing this.
This worked for 10 years. So like, I'm going to try this with something else. And like, I just feel like when people are just like, I'm an expert and you should follow this. And like, just because they have, 50,000 followers or 100,000, like, who cares? Like, if I really wanted to, because I'm determined, I could hatch ball pythons on the hood of my car outside like that. But like, you just have to give someone those tools and what they want to do. If they want to make it work, they're going to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
But to be like, you're a horrible keeper because you hatch ball python eggs off the car. And I'm like, okay, but I have 6 ball pythons coming out of the egg. Like, what does it matter? So like, I think when we start changing those ways of thinking and like the keeper versus breeder aspect, and stop like doing these different teams, like as creators do, like, I just think like things will flow better. And then maybe I would partake in more things, but I think just to stay in my lane and make my animals happy and fat and doing my own thing, like that's like what's important.
And
slowly but surely, I think there's just a lot of stuff that gets like shoved under the rug. Like there's bad people, there's hobbies still, and like they're put on these pedestals so like people don't get called out or like this and that. And like for me personally, I'm like sick of it. So like I won't be going to shows as much as I used to or doing those things until I do see a change, because like I feel like that's the only way to get a change, is to like remove people that are doing things for this community. Like if you make it so accessible, like people can just have you at the reach of their fingertips, like nothing's going to change. So like I think slowly over time things will, but like I think the community has a long ways to go. And I think a lot of people just don't know because things are very good at being swept under the rug.
Well, and I don't even like claim that I am an animal educator on anything that I have, because and I don't even like really giving advice. Like if you've seen my videos, they're usually just humor, and I don't really post any. I posted a couple here and there about green trees, and I try to avoid it because there are just so many different ways to do things. There's not just one way. And the last thing I feel the urge to have is people trying to tell me that I'm wrong for the way I do things when they've my snakes are happy. They're fat. Well, not unhealthy fat, but they're fat, happy. They're shedding well. They're doing great. So my way works. Is my way the only way? Absolutely not. There are a million ways. What's that saying? There are a million ways to skin a rabbit or something. Maybe that's not a very nice thing to say, but I don't know. I'm in the Wild West. Okay, did I tell you I'm in Arizona? Black ice on the signs. We have 3 lakes. That's it. So
but like you're gonna keep different in Arizona than someone's gonna keep in like the East Coast. Like that's just how, I mean, even you in San Antonio, you're gonna keep completely different than we're gonna keep. Like that's just how it goes. Like for someone to message you and you'd be like, this is what you need to do and this is how you're gonna do it. It's just like chill.
And I've had people like go in on me about not keeping my green trees in bioactive enclosures. And I'm like, please leave me alone. Leave my snakes alone. Don't get that near me. Like just if you want to do it in your state or wherever you are, you could live next door to me. If you want to do it, you go off, sis or mister. Whatever you want to do with your animals, you do. I don't have a comment. I don't have a thing. But please do not try to force bioactive on my green trees. Like it doesn't work for me. I have tried it. It did not go well. I have chosen to do the way that I've seen best fit for my animals through trial and literal error. Like that's how I've learned this, through trial and error with my green tree pythons. Calling Patrick Holmes in a panic because something has happened and my snake is laying on the brick and what is on the bark and why is it doing that? Like when I first started getting into green tree pythons, and he's like, well, you know, what are the branches like and like learning through that way, you know, and trying the bioactive and it just didn't work out. I don't even want to get into it because I don't want to kick the hornet's nest or whoever
right, everything's so touchy nowadays. You can't really get into anything.
If you choose to do bioactive and you're able to do it succeedingly well, then I applaud you. I personally, I can't do it. I'm not capable of sustaining a healthy life with my animal in a bioactive. It doesn't work out for me. But for people that can, I tip my hat to you, sir. You know, so and that's another thing. I just wish people wouldn't be so aggressive with their ideologies or their thoughts on keeping. 'Cause there's multiple ways. There's multiple ways to keep your animal, and it doesn't mean there's only one correct way. You know?
Exactly. Bingo.
Yeah.
Now, if y'all wanted to be remembered for one thing, what would it be and why? Your videos, right? Your humor?
For being funny. Yeah. She was weird, but she was funny.
I don't know. Like when you said yes, I was like, oh my God. I was all telling everybody, man, I was like, I'm fangirly right now. She actually said, yeah.
No way.
Yeah,
no
I was.
Way.
I swear to God.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. When I found out you were co-hosting too, I was like, of all the people, this is the best day of my life. I was so happy.
Well, I was just like happy. I was like, he couldn't have picked a better person because, like, I told you, I stay in my own little like bubble, and you are one of the people that I've like reached out to a few times.
No, we've had talks. She's just so incredibly kind, Chris. You just picked a good person to have on your show. She's just so kind.
Well, I just try to keep it positive. Like that's what I do with this show. That's all I'm shooting for.
That's why I said yes to your podcast, because I've had a couple podcasts reach out and I said yes because you've just always been so kind and so supportive. And it's like, you're that type of supportive that you don't expect anything in return. You're just kind. You just share the wealth of kindness and celebrating other people and their successes. And that's true kindness. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm going to follow you so you follow me back. I'm going to be kind to you so you be kind to me back. You genuinely do it out of the goodness of your heart. And so that's why I wanted to be a part of your podcast, because you're a good human.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. What is the one thing you want to be remembered by, Ruck?
Oh gosh, I was thinking about that. I feel like if anything, like I want to just do big things with like the Cyclera or just like iguanas and bigger lizards in general. I just like to break the different stigmas people have about them, because I mean, don't get me wrong, they can be really aggressive and like psychos, but like they also can be really sweet and they can have a relationship with their keepers. So I feel like just being known for like having relationships with like those animals that people write off a lot of the times, like giving them that extra chance, because I think people need to take a breather sometimes and just know that it's a lot of the times it's them, not the animal, and they just need to take a minute. And these animals teach us a lot.
And the work you're putting in on social media like means a lot, because when I see your videos, I'm like, the masses get to see what kindness looks like with these animals that are misunderstood. Like, it's so true too, because with, for example, with your rhino iguana, like if people don't have the patience, they get rid of animals like that. You know what I mean? And you just pour so much love and patience in your animals, and you show that in your videos, and it's just awesome to see. Like, I know when your face pops up that it's going to be a video that when I'm finished watching it, I'm going to feel like good in my heart, because you're doing something that's like meaningful. Like, my videos are like humor, and I'm like talking crap sometimes, you know what I mean?
Like, you need
well, but I like that yours are like, it's just, it feels good, you know what I mean? Because you're doing good work with your animals, you know. So I like it.
I definitely love my animals, and I had, like I said, a rough time in the community. And Rocco, when I met Rocco, was when I was just about to like sell all of my animals and get out of the community, basically. And we both were kind of just like not trusting people, not liking the world, and we both learned to like trust again together. And I feel like that type of relationship is just kind of like unbeatable when it comes down to it, because you can't force those animals to want to be with you or interact with you. And I learned that time and time again, especially now that I got a female and she wants nothing to do with me. So it's one of those things when those animals, and I say it to a bunch of content creators all the time, like even with the big cats and stuff and birds, those animals aren't going to be around you if they don't want to be around you.
Oh, absolutely.
Force that. And if they are forced, they're going to retaliate eventually. So those animals that are willingly being affectionate or going up to these people, it's because they trust them. And that is a lot of time that you don't see on camera.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, what's one thing you want to be remembered for?
Well, a lot of people always tell me like I'm the beacon of light in this community. I'm like spread the positivity. And they always like telling me nice things, telling me gifts, and you know, I don't really expect anything from anybody. I just want to show love, just bring everybody together. You know, that's all I care about, and that's all I said I was gonna do when I came into the hobby too. Like, they always ask me, they're like, "What's one thing you're gonna do when you come into this hobby?" Because when I started with ball pythons, I really went on a time like. Just bought like everything. I bought like 50 ball pythons, and I was like, I'm just gonna make a lot of money. Yeah, I did.
Like you said, you learned the hard way, like I did.
Yeah, learned the hard way. Got out of them, and now I'm working with retics. And what I actually love are the colubrids, my milk snakes, my hog noses, and I mean, you just have to learn. Like, you have to be humble. Really, it really humbles you. Yeah. So. And then, like, I'm just tired of the negativity too. Like, why are we always at each other's throats? Why are we backlashing each other? Why, you know? I see something like that. Yeah, I'm just like, I see you guys post stuff or anything. I'm like, oh, congratulations, that's awesome, that's amazing. You know, that's what we need. We need more of that.
It's so easy as just like a comment, or a share. And as cheesy as that sounds, like that's how you support like someone right now. And I feel like if you can do that for other people and reciprocate it, like that's a good way of showing support for each other, like even just on a minuscule form.
And like, and like I met so many people, like y'all said, like I have like, okay, so I have groups. Like I have groups like you guys would be part of that group where I go and ask important information, like detailed information. I would go to you guys, you know, but y'all are still awesome. Like, y'all are amazing people. I still love you guys regardless. Like, I have groups that I'll talk, mess with, and chill with, and whatever, because I'm comfortable already over there. So, like, you guys, I'm just getting to know you guys still, and then just different groups. You know, it's just so many groups.
You said, like Brooke said, you know, you have your people, you know, based off of your things. I like personally having a group away from this stuff. I like that. I personally like that my boyfriend is not in the hobby. I'm going to be honest. He's not into animals crazy like I am. And I'm going to be truthful. I love it. It's such a nice feeling. And I get to teach him about these things and he's receptive to learn, which is even cooler. And he's not like, oh yeah, now I'm going to make a channel and become the next animal keeper and have 500 million animals. No, he's so chill about it. And I just really enjoy that. And I like having a group of friends that I can go out with that have nothing to do with animals and not there to tell me that I did a shit job on my video that day or something like that. You know what I mean? And it's just nice to have your different groups. And then I have my snake friends where I'm like, how did I do on that thing? And they're like, well, you know what I mean? And so it's good to just have your niche.
It's like that private, like safe place though to have people like critique your stuff where they're not like putting you on blast and like making it a smear campaign for no reason. And then they're like, well, I like apples. Well, I like oranges. And you're like, but I'm talking about a banana.
See this? This is all retake information.
Nice.
Yeah.
So like if it's important to me, I write it down. It's the only way I'm gonna remember. And I'm also like a hands-on like person too. So I write down notes. I'm really good about taking notes. And that's how I retain my information. It's like if I talk to you guys, like I'll write it down. I'll ask you a question. I'll be like, hold on, let me write this down. You know?
Yeah.
I have notes in my phone. I keep notes on my
Me too. I got a notepad. Yeah. Yeah. That's where I keep my questions. Like if I ask you a question, I'll be like, oh, I already asked that. Let me see. You know, so
but yeah, and you said what you wanted to be remembered for, you know, is bringing people together. And you do look at your podcast, like you bring so many people together by having them on here to share their stories and to talk and to be able to like have other people get to know them in a different way from just behind their own screen of 30 seconds on videos. You know, they get to see a different side of that person through these podcasts, which I think is really, really cool. Like not everybody's gonna know that I'm a dingbat until they watch this, which is awesome.
You're not? Oh, I think you're awesome.
I was complimenting myself.
I was like, I don't know. I don't think that, but okay.
This is a grade A compliment. Hold up.
I was complimenting myself.
But like, so like one of the gifts that made me cry was this right here. They sent me this community.
Oh.
It's my logo and it says Big Flexing because everybody always calls me Big Flexing. And then in the back it says never give up.
Oh, that's cool.
So that really made me cry. Like I wasn't expecting anything, and whoever sent it, you know, I love you. Like I appreciate it very much.
I love that of the community. Like those are the things that I love. And like when I am at shows and I see a kid light up for the first time because they see a reptile that makes like that stuff I love. Like you can't give me a better like dopamine hit. But it is just like there are some of the stuff where I do want to see change before I am more present at things, because I'm not having kids personally because different reasons, but like I wouldn't feel comfortable bringing my daughter to a show. And until I feel comfortable, like I feel like things need to change.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
I can understand.
I agree with that too. Like my boys.
Love for everyone in the community, like for like all of those good things, like I said, where people are lifting you up and supporting each other. I love it, and I want more of it.
Later.
Yeah.
Thank you for the support.
Oh my gosh, we're about to hit the 2-hour mark.
Yeah, that went quick, right?
It's time for bed.
I know. Okay. Well, it's been great. It's been great fun.
We got one question, and then we're gonna leave on a positive note. You're gonna leave on our way out. Both y'all are gonna say something positive to the camera for the people.
Great.
And that's it. And we out of here. But so the last question.
Gotta be positive. God, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
So the last question is, it's like, what is y'all's take on USARK? What do y'all think?
I mean, I think they're great. They're doing great work. I support them, and every time I'm able to donate, I donate. And whenever they have the booths at the expos, I always donate there. And I think they're doing awesome work.
Yeah, I think they're always kicking ass. I agree.
Yeah.
I think they're kicking ass too. I always just wish we can educate people more on what USARK does. And I think they're working on that more and more with their social media and stuff. But that was like one of the things. That's why I said it's bedtime.
all the timers off. Yes.
That's awesome. My timers are not
I
off yet.
know.
I don't know why.
Yeah, they are working on their website and like they're
It's just like showing people, because so many people to me, they're like, well, what does USARK do? They just take your money. And it's like, no,
They do more than that. Yeah.
And the reason you're able to keep your reptiles is because of USARK.
Yes.
So like I feel like getting those points across is super important for us.
I feel like it's not only reptiles though, it's like other exotic animals, like the owls. I know people that keep owls, you know. I'm trying to get them to come on the podcast so I can just educate them about USARK. Like they're the ones keeping that there for you guys.
Yeah.
You know?
They're building their
It's like there's a bunch of species, like there's a lot of tarantulas.
Skunks.
Like,
Yes.
you keep Postlotheria and stuff, and like I don't think if USARK was involved with a bunch of stuff, like those types of species would be able to be kept in the pet trade.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Uneducated.
They had a lot of bans on them. You weren't allowed to buy.
They can't go across state lines.
Yeah, you weren't allowed to buy Postlotheria for the longest time, and then they changed the laws, and you were able to start having some of them, and then they started changing things again. And there's certain ones you can buy in certain states, but then there's certain like county lines and state lines that you cannot. You can't cross for the Postlotheria, and they're my favorite species. They're from Sri Lanka. They're the coolest species ever. They're the most venomous tarantula, and I love them because if you get bit by one, you can have symptoms for up to a year.
No way.
Yes.
Holy smokes, I didn't know that. But my favorite tarantula is the Brazilian jewel.
Oh, they're cool.
Oh, they're pretty.
Yes.
Still too expensive. Still too expensive for me, but they're pretty.
Yes. I mean, that's my first tarantula. I'm getting that one actually.
Yeah. I personally, like, I'm working with a few species still. Like, I used to have 80 tarantulas, different Postlotheria and stuff. So I live through your page now because I miss mine. But like, I have Grandma Stola and stuff. But like breeding them, I don't know. Like, if you did that for a long term, I did one sack, and I was just like, I am never taking care of this many baby spiders again in my
They're a lot of work. They're a lot of work, but they're so cute. Oh my gosh. I mean, the mother and I got into a fist fight when I tried to pull the sack, and I was like, girl, I'm not, just let me. I'm like, I'm just kidding, I'm not, and I am, and I just yanked it out, and I was like, ah, you're stuck in there. And then like I let them all out, and I'm like, they're little Orbeez. And so it's just cool watching them grow their little legs from mules to but the amount of work that was, holy crapola. And then getting all the, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky. Alexander England's girlfriend, Nikki, she sent me, she had all these little extra boxes. She'd accidentally bought too many of these little tiny little containers. And she was like, do you want me to send you this? And I was like, please, I need 100 of them. And she was like, I got you, girl. And she sent them to me. And I'm in the room, literally, dirt.
See, people like that, yeah.
Clothes, dirt, snagging off clothes, dirt, snag, like 100 of these suckers. And I'm just lining them all up in little rows. And I'm like, girl, you literally saved my freaking life because this is just what I needed. And they had little tiny little doors on them. I'm like, I couldn't have asked for anything better. Just amazing, beautiful people. I love them. So yeah, and just the amount of boxes and then feeding each one. And I'm like, wow, I'm literally setting aside like half of my lifespan doing this. Yeah. And imagine people that do more, like some of the big breeders that do more. I'm like, God bless your soul. Bless your soul.
I think it took like 5 years off my life raising a stack of spiders.
It ages you.
I was like, don't die, don't die. And I'm like, I bred Caribbean and versicolor, so they'd be like running out.
See, I don't know how y'all do it with multiple spiders. I'm only getting one. That's it.
Those little blueberries. One of them got stuck in my shirt and my armpit, and I was like, can you come in here? And my ex, he was like, what? I was like, I have one in my armpit. Can you help? He's like, I'm not touching the thing. I'm like, don't touch it. Help me with the shirt so I can grab it. And I'm like, what is it? I'm trying to cup it and get it out of my armpit. I'm like, don't bite me, 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 don't bite me. I'm like, woo! Oh, babies.
Man.
They're hilarious.
Stressful.
Yeah.
All right. Another podcast on tarantulas one day.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun.
I was going to ask, but then we got carried away, so.
Oh, we went on a bunch of different tangents.
Yeah, we were all over the
which I loved it. It was awesome. 2 hours, amazing. It went by quick, though. When she was like, it's already going to be 2 hours? Like, yeah, damn, all right.
Perfect.
All right, so what is a positive message, guys, from each of you?
Look both ways before crossing the street. Eat your vegetables, and If you see a snake in the road, move it. Don't run it over.
And move the turtle in the right direction that it's I think I would just say keep being unapologetically you and hone your craft. Like, don't, if you like crested geckos, make the coolest freaking crested gecko enclosure you can possibly make and make that your focus of your channel. But don't let anyone else tell you what animal's cool because they're wrong.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I like that.
I agree too.
All right. Oh, wait, before we go, Tori, and plug yourselves before, so where people can find you, you know.
Oh.
I am Sendsnakepics on everything. So Sendsnakepics on TikTok, Sendsnakepics on Instagram, Sendsnakepics on YouTube, Sendsnakepics on, I don't have Twitter. Sendsnakepics on those 3 things.
I'm the same thing, but the lizard on Instagram, TikTok. I'm most active on Instagram, though. I will be completely honest. If you are trying to message or get a question from me, Instagram, 100%.
See, I was saying boy lizard.
I don't answer messages between 3 to 5 days. So if you message me on Instagram, 3 to 5 business days.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, she ain't even lying.
You should be on my podcast. Day 5. Okay, what days work best for you?
Yeah, she did. And then 3 days later, I text her right then. And then 3 days later, that'll work.
Oh, so I'm honored. I got a text back today, like when I.
Yeah, she checks you fast, and yeah, you're.
Okay, well, I shared, so I guess that's why I was.
So look, this was the old podcast logo.
Oh, that's cool.
See, it was Sexing, Flexing, Reptile Podcast. Yeah.
Cool.
But I had to get rid of it. Yeah, but that's my little journal. Say I got that made.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, on that note, guys, I appreciate you guys for coming on. Thank you for giving me your time. You know, I really love this. It was a good podcast. I loved it.
It was a lot of fun. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was fun.
Thank you.
I told you it was gonna be fun. I told you it was gonna be fun.
I had so
And look,
much
I even
anxiety.
made this backdrop right here for you.
It's awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you.
So I was like, yeah, I just made this like right now, and she's like, yeah. So yeah, everybody's like, great episode. Look, y'all did good. Hell yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So y'all already know. Make sure y'all check on y'all's loved ones, pick them up, pick up. You know, anybody who's going through a bad day, just reach out, say hi. You never know how much a hike can go for. You know, it means a lot to a lot of people. On that note, y'all guys, you know, y'all have a good night. We love you. We out of here.